This is Ross Fleming of Fleming Recordings, Nelson, speaking to you from the Green Memorial Home in Cranbrook. We are interviewing Ben Keer, an old-timer that's spelled K-W-R, an old-timer in these parts. Now, Mr. Keer, where were you born, or what was your full name?
K-W-R, Keer.
What were your first names? Have you got more than one?
I just got Ben Keer.
Ben Keer, eh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's fine. And where were you born?
I don't know.
You don't know? You don't?
It's so long ago that I forget where I was born.
Yeah. Well, you were there at the time, though, I guess, weren't you?
I must have been.
Yeah. Well, maybe it'll come to you after a while.
Yeah.
Can you remember the year you were born?
No.
You can't remember that?
I can't remember that.
Were you born in Canada or in the old country?
I was born in the old country, I think.
You think you were born in the old country?
I think I was. That's what they tell me anyway. I can't remember, you know. Not
yes, I
sure.
see. Uh-huh.
But
well,
I never was told I was born here. I don't know whether... Well, she's gone.
Yeah. Well, now, do you know when you came to B.C.? You came here pretty early, didn't you?
I came to B.C. I came here in 91.
In 91?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
18, not here, not in here. I came here in 96.
96.
But I came to us, not 91, 92.
You came to where?
To
Nelson.
No.
Yeah. Where you worked, was it down in Nelson?
I was there, but I came here, and now I'll give you the whole history of
okay.
it. Me and a chum of mine, we left Winnipeg. I had 15 cents, and we started off for anywhere.
I see.
And
where'd you get all the money?
Huh?
Where'd you get all the money?
It was
15 cents.
It was. We'd saved it for many long years.
Oh, you did. Yeah, good for you. Well, you're a saving disposition. All right, excuse me interrupting you.
And
you got the 15 cents. All right, now where do you go from there?
We beat our way up to Revelstoke.
Up to Revelstoke, yes. Uh-huh.
And we moached around there for a while, and then we went down to Sproats Landing.
Oh, yes.
We beat our way down there, and we still had the 15 cents.
You still had the 15 cents?
Yes.
Well, say you are a saving
yes, we still had the 15 cents.
Well, that's fine.
And I went to work there. You see, they were building that road from
Nelson to Robson, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that was built in 1891.
That was in 1891.
Yes, that's quite right.
So there you are. We worked on it.
Did you ever meet Al Trigillis?
Yes, I remember the name quite well.
He used to be. He was in the Tremont Hotel a little later than.
Yes, yes.
I think it was about 93 that he went in there. 96, something around there. And
yes.
But he was quite an old timer, and Jack Malone and Jack Gibson was down at Sproats Landing for a while.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And this is.
Oh, Mrs. Who?
Oh, let's see.
She
was only a girl then.
I know.
This is Jeffs.
No.
That her name is Mrs. Jeffs afterwards, but I just forget her maiden name.
Yeah.
Well, that is fine. I've got you as far as Sproats Landing. Now, where did you go from Sproats Landing?
Sproats Landing.
You went into Nelson from there, didn't you?
We went to Nelson.
You built the road from there to Nelson.
Built the road.
Were you the guy that built all those 28 bridges?
I helped to.
You helped to, eh?
Yeah.
Well, there are sure a lot of bridges in that short length of time.
There certainly were. Bridges and and trussels.
And trestles, yes.
Side. They
Yeah.
built it mostly in those days. They built on the side hill. They built with trussels.
Yes. And what did you do when you got to Nelson?
Well, we turned. I heard of this place over here, and I beat it back, and came back here
Oh, you came back to Cranbrook, eh?
to Cranbrook in '96.
Let's see, 96. Well, then you'd have to go back by Revelstoke then, wouldn't you? How did you get back to Cranbrook? Do you remember that?
No, I
They didn't
don't.
build the Crow until 98. They didn't build the Crow until 1898.
Well, the Crow didn't make coal. Railroads didn't make any difference.
Oh,
to us.
no, I see. You just went anyway, eh?
We just went anywhere.
I see. That's fine.
Well, then, when you came over, the North Star Mine would be running at that time, was it?
Yes, slightly.
Let me see.
I gather you had something to do with the hauling of ore?
Yes, I drew ore from there down to Sproats Landing. No, down to the North Star Landing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And whereabouts was that?
That was 6 miles up the river from Fort Steele.
From Fort Steele. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You went down the... you went up
Well,
the
you
Kootenay.
see, it was a straight chute
Oh, yes.
and a downhill chute.
I see.
That was
But
known as
they couldn't get across the river, you know,
Uh-huh.
or anything of that kind.
Yeah.
So they made a landing place
Mhm.
6 miles up the river.
Oh, yes.
And the boats used to come up
Oh, yes.
6 miles up the river and pick up their loads, and away they'd go
Oh, yes.
they
They take
took it to Jennings, Montana, was it?
to Jennings, Montana.
No,
And the teams, they'd pull their loads down. It's Kimberley now, but we call it Mark Creek.
Mark Creek, yes.
Yeah. They'd unload half of it there
Oh, yes.
and pull the other half up on the top of the hill.
Oh, yes.
You
Oh, yeah.
see.
this was with
And
slaves.
the one-horse teams, they do the same thing. And when the four-horse teams came, they'd pick up their load at Mark Creek and pull to the top of the hill, load up, and away they'd go down to the landing.
Oh, yes.
This was the McGinty Trail, was it?
On the McGinty Trail, yeah.
Who was McGinty?
Who was McGinty? Yeah, McGinty. He was quite a character. He wasn't a very big man, but he was a short fella, and he used to poke around the woods all the time. And it was him that found the spring at McGinty
Oh, yes.
and McGinty Lake.
It was named the lake and the
And
stream was named
the
after him.
springs and the place McGinty was named after him.
Oh, yes, I see.
Therefore, when the North Star started to haul their ore, you see, they put in a camp there and called it McGinty,
Oh, yes,
named it after McGinty.
I see.
That's where the team stayed
He was,
because they had their water was right there.
oh, yes. He was a teamster, was he,
Who?
McGinty?
Oh, he was anything good.
Anything? He was a prospector, too, was he?
He was a prospector, yes, more of a prospector than a teamster.
He did everything.
He did everything.
Mhm.
I don't think he ever married a person. No, I never heard tell.
Oh, I see. You didn't. Well, now I'm having Mr. Joy Almack of Joe Almack of Cranbrook helping me in this interview,
Yeah.
and I would like to have him ask a few more questions because he's more familiar with this part of the
Of the
world
country.
than I am.
He ought to be.
Yes, he ought to be. When he was born in were you born in?
I was born not very far from McGinty Trail, actually.
From
No,
McGinty
right
Trail, is that
close to McGinty Trail.
so,
Yeah.
what did your father do?
He had a ranch not very far from the present concentrator
Oh,
at the Kimberley.
at the
Yeah.
Kimberley. Oh, is that so? Well, now you go ahead, Joe, and ask any questions that you.
I'd like to have Ben tell us just how they hauled this ore on the McGinty Trail. Did they use sleighs or wagons?
Well, they used both. In the summertime, in the summertime, they hauled it on wagons. They got the wagons up from the other side. They were very good wagons, and they could they'd put 4 ton on the big wagon on the big wagon. On the trailer they'd put 2, but there wasn't very much ore. They didn't haul very much ore in the summertime
I see.
because of the roads were too bad,
I see.
and they couldn't put on loads.
They leveled it out more in the wintertime.
And in the winter, in the summertime, they had these big sleighs,
Oh, yes.
and the biggest load of ore that was pulled down from the top of Kimberley Hill, it is now 19 ton, 1900 and some odd pounds,
That's all.
with 4 horses. Coyotes,
19 ton
19 ton, 1900.
and 1900.
So you thought he had
Might as well made it right.
hauled by Jack Connors with with Wade's team. But Jack drove the team.
Well,
Is that right?
Yes.
Now, who else was working on the trail with you? Was Pete Woods?
Well, Pete Woods come in here afterwards. Pete Woods did more market gardening than anything else, but he'd work. Pete was like any of the rest of us. He'd do anything that when he could pick it up. You see,
Yes.
but Pete Woods' business was gardening, raising vegetables. He had that place down below where the airport is.
Yes, I remember he used to run quite a few cattle there and had sheep as well.
Yes. That was after. Yes.
Can you remember any of the other old-timers that used to be on that?
Well, there was Wade. Wade, he owned that place of Pete Woods. If I could just think of their names, but it's pretty hard for me to think of their names. I can remember them, but it's pretty hard to think of that.
I remember
I can remember them, but it's pretty hard to think of that.
I remember when I was a boy, there used to be these log platforms along the old McGinty Trail. What were they used for?
Well, they used to be used for them to dump the ore off the sleighs or wagons. Well, they didn't dump it much onto, so that it all was all sacked. You understand?
Oh, it was all in sacks.
It's all in sacks.
I see.
And it was much handier, you see. The sacks weighed.
They'd pick it up from these platforms on the way down, would they?
Well, you see, you'd always have an accident or something,
Yeah.
or some goddamn thing. You'd have to unload part your load,
Oh, yes.
and it was unloaded onto these
Oh,
platforms.
yes. You'd pick it up another time.
And then they'd pick it up there some other time.
I see. Well, that's
And then there was lots of them picked up there.
Well, it's been very nice to have a chat with you, Ben.
yes, this is very,
So there you are.
very
And
good.
there was one the greatest blessing we had in those days. Women were like hen's teeth, throwing scatter.
How horrible can you get?
It seemed.
It was so nice.
I know where you were born.
We were so nice, because we didn't have a worry on us.
Yeah.
Not a worry
I
on
know
us.
where you were born.
Well,
You must have been born in Ireland.
Sure.
Now, can you remember where you were born in Ireland? Were you born in the north or the south?
Right close. They tell me, I don't know,
Uh-huh.
but they told me I was born in Tipperary.
In Tipperary.
Yeah.
Well, you
And
sure,
I came into the
you sure
world.
could tip a few, I'll bet.
That's for sure. Take one right now for it.
I came into the world head first.
I think
They had an awful time landing me because I didn't want to stay.
Well, I tell you what, I think we better call a recess while the lady gives you something here to cheer you up.
Cheer me up.
Yeah.
Do you ever know a woman that would cheer a poor old fortunate man like me?
Sure.
Ben, I have
They've got about a half a dozen right around this home, I'll bet.
What?
Of those nice ladies that'll cheer you up.
Cheer me up.
Yeah.
You think, could you, honey?
You know very well I do.
Yeah. Okay, we'll let you have your little drink.
He doesn't. I'll get even with you tomorrow morning when I go to shave you and cut your hair.
Yeah, she's.
Well, say, honey,
She-
don't forget tomorrow morning.
Well, I'm off duty tomorrow, so I can cut your hair tomorrow morning.
You'll not be here.
Well, I'm off duty, but I'll come and do your hair and do your shaving for you, and Doc's too. Do you want your hair cut tomorrow?
Well, no, that's very nice. And now I'd like to say at this moment that we have Dr. HB Morrison, who used to be in practice of dentistry in Nelson, and he's quite an interested spectator at this interview. And Doc, I suppose you have a little few stories to tell about this part of the world too, although you may not have been driving mules.
No, I haven't been here long enough to make any talk.
I see. Well, that's all right.
I haven't been here long enough.
You haven't been here long enough.
No.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you along with us, Doc, and stay right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now, where did we get to? Now, were we still skinning mules? We were still skinning mules,
I
weren't we?
guess we were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and all that ore went up the Kootenay to some of the...
No, it went down the Kootenay, not up the Kootenay.
not up the Kootenay?
No.
I thought the Kootenay flowed this...
You
Oh,
thought
no.
it
No,
went
it's
up
the
hill.
south.
One time.
Oh, yes, you went south. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And then it would go on the Great Northern Railway.
No, yes.
Oh,
It
yes.
used to, you see, the boats used to, they dump their ore at the landing.
Oh, yes.
Well, and then the boat should come up to the landing, and it would be reloaded onto the boat.
Oh, yes.
The boat should carry oil around 80 ton, 100 ton.
Uh-huh.
That is the big boats, the
Yeah.
North Star and the J.D. Farrell. Previous to that, they had little boats
Oh, yes.
that carried 20 ton.
Oh, yes.
That would be the Gwendolyn.
Who were the...
Yes, you've got it.
The Gwendolyn.
Yes, yeah. The Gwendolyn. Yeah.
now, who were the captains? Captain Armstrong was...
He was captain.
Captain Frank Armstrong?
Yes, he was captain on the North Star.
North Star, I see.
Yeah. She always went through. She never came to fate.
Yes.
The J.D. file, she couldn't make it.
I see.
That is...
Who was the captain on the Farrell?
No, I couldn't tell you that.
I see. Uh-huh.
I wasn't so well, but...
Well, I remember Captain Gore because he used to live in, or at least Captain Armstrong because he used to live in Nelson.
yes,
to the
yes,
family.
you were correct.
Mhm.
But Captain Armstrong, he was...
He was later over on the Arrow Lake
he,
boat, I believe.
well, I don't know where he went to
Yes.
after they closed it up here.
Mhm.
He went to that, well, our lakes were closed up too at about the same time.
Mhm.
You see,
Well-
that big boat, what was her name? She was launched in 91
Where was this?
on the
Arrow Lake?
Arrow Lake.
Well, that is a Kootenay, would it be? Would it be?
No,
Kootenay was earlier.
no. It was the Kootenay was launched ahead of her.
Oh, yes. Oh, no, I should know, but
I can't think.
yeah.
The Roslyn and
Eh?
the Roslyn.
Yes, but this was.
Roslyn and the
I forget her name now.
Well, I should remember it myself, but because I've just been giving the story of all the boats on the Kootenay Lake and the Okanagan Lake, or at least the Arrow Lakes,
Yeah.
and I've just finished that series about three. Took
Well,
about three
what was the
podcasts.
last big boat's name that was launched on
And the Sukin, would it be the Bonington?
no,
Tuscany.
no,
Wasn't that? Well,
yeah, on the
that was in Nelson.
on
You're
the,
trying to think of on the Arrow Lakes.
yes, on the Air Lake. She was a big boat.
Either the Bonington and the
Oh, that was the Bonington was ahead of her.
Oh, yeah.
There was the Bonington and the
are ahead. They are ahead.
yeah, and yes, there ahead. She was ahead of all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's very nice. This has been a very interesting interview.
Not a very interesting, I wouldn't think. I don't know.
Well, at the
Did
time-
you ever have to beat your way down on them boots?
Well, it was interesting. The interesting part of it that you had 15 cents left after you got down there.
Yes. Yes, my God, and that's a true story.
It's a true story.
Do you
It's a-
remember Hanson that had the stopping house at Wasa?
I do know him. Oh, God darn whistling, I knew him. Yeah. Hanson, I knew Hanson. Cripes, yes. He was a pretty good old fellow. Suppose he was a Swede. Yeah, we used to have some wonderful times there at Wasa.
Uh-huh.
Years gone by.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there were real times, real people.
Mm-hmm. Well, they were pretty good kind of people those days. You could pretty much trust them with anything.
You could.
Yes.
That was one thing that in days gone by, you could trust a man.
Yes.
Today, you can't trust yourself.
That's. I think
Hey?
you're pretty close to being right.
Yeah,
But they had a high respect those days for the other man's property.
They had a wonderful respect for their word.
Yes.
Their word was worth, in those days, more than their note is today. If
Yes.
a man told you a thing, and that is in earnest, you could rely on it.
You could bank on it, eh?
Yes, you could.
Yes.
You can't now.
Well, that's the type of men that were in this country in the early days.
Yes, they were real. That was one thing that I so often lay here at night and think and think and think and think of why there should be the difference with all these goddamn preachers floating around that your word of honor has depreciated so much. And isn't it the truth? We had no preachers.
Yes.
No preachers.
Well, not so many. I suppose you had Father Pat up here.
What?
Did you ever have Father Pat around your district? Father Pat?
Yes.
Pat Irwin?
Yeah.
Because he traveled around. He was an Anglican missionary. He traveled around quite a lot.
Yeah, and I'll
Of course,
tell
there
you.
were quite a number of...
Your Father Pat, sure, he was over in West Kootenay in 91. 1891. He was a real man.
Yes, he was. He had
He
a
was
good
like
reputation.
Father Cocola. Father Pat would come up to the bar and have a drink with you, buy you a drink, and you could. He seldom preached to the walls.
No.
You understand
Yes,
what?
yes, I know. There was always men that were ready to listen to him,
It was always listening to him.
and he would preach right in the bar room.
And you'd go in there on a Sunday, and you'd have a drink, and he'd have a drink with you, and he'd go to church, and he'd have his church filled right up with men,
Yes.
filled up with men. Jesus, every person appreciated that man
Oh, yes, he was a real man.
because he was so genuine, you know.
And I believe Father Cocola was very similar, wasn't he?
Oh yes, Father Cocola was just the same. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Well, Father Cocola was, because Father Cocola was a Catholic and this other fellow was the Church of England.
Yes.
But Father Cocola, there were few people that had the respect that Father Cocola had.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice when you can get
When you
men like
look
that,
back
that the
and
miners
think
can
of
confidence in.
what, and Father, what's his name, was just the same. Only Father
Pat.
Father Cocola. Father Pat was over in West Kootenay.
Yes.
But
more
Father
than here.
Cocola was stationed here.
Yes.
And he sure certainly was good.
Well, I suppose you remember Charlie Stevens around the country too?
Who?
Charlie Stevens?
Charlie Stevens.
Do you remember when he came in the country?
Yes. Yes. Well, I couldn't give you a day and date for it, though.
Well, he told me that he came in 1895 and settled on that place that he lived on all his life up there on Wolf Creek.
95.
That's what he claimed.
In 1895. I guess maybe you did.
Were there many ranches around here at that time?
Very few. Very few. Very few.
Where did you? Was it too early for you? In the weren't there some later excitements? I think the first excitement at the Wild Horse was in 64, 65.
Oh, that was
That's quite a bit earlier, of course.
That was before my time.
Yes, there's been sort of revivals of that placer mining since, hasn't there?
Yes. Well, the placer went down. That crazy went down, and a bunch of Chinamen came in.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Do you see?
Yes.
And they worked it.
Uh-huh.
Do you see? And they made pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Because they didn't want as much as what we did.
No.
As what a white man wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And that revived it.
Yes.
That was when we had the how do you do in here because of the, of course we had, I can't think of it now. What you're forbidden to have now. The Chinaman had it and we had it. It cost you,
The opium.
yeah, we had 4 bits,
Mhm.
cost you. But they had it in the, they got it in the rough stage
Yes.
from China, do you see.
Yeah.
Put it into a pot and put it in and you'd smoke around it, either 4 bits or $1 or whatever it might be. You'd enjoy a pipeful.
Mhm.
But we got the preachers in there and 2 goddamn women, and they put a stop to it.
Well,
Yeah,
well, that's
little bit of joy, that. What the deuce did we call it? I can't think of it now.
well, wasn't it opium that they used?
Yes, but it wasn't refined.
No, I see.
Do you see? It was just in its rough state.
Yes.
But
Well, it comes from the poppy seed, of course.
it was the poppy seed, but not refined.
Not refined. Yes.
Not
I see.
refined.
I see.
You could get opium
Uh-huh.
refined,
Yes.
but they were stricter with it.
Yes. I
But with the poppy seed, why, you could go and sit there and have drag out of the old peace pipe.
Well, I remember when I was a kid.
We called it the peace pipe in those
peace
days.
pipe, eh? Well, I remember seeing these Chinamen lying around in beds in Nelson in the early days. They were puffing on one of these little pipes and
Yeah.
a little bit of a bowl,
Yeah.
about 2 inches from the end, and so I suspect that was
Yes,
one of
yes,
those peace pipes.
yes. But they called it, in early days, in those days that I'm speaking of, they had it in a big round concern,
Mm-hmm.
and the rough stuff, just put in, set fire to, and
Well, thanks very much, Ben. We were just about at the end of our tape here,
so
and
you better
it's certainly been a pleasure. And you've done very well. You didn't
Not
think
too bad for an old fellow.
you've done pretty well. How old are you now, Ben?
Huh?
How old are you now?
95.
95?
95.
Well, you're doing fine.
Huh?
Don't let anybody kid you that you've got that foot in the grave yet,
No.
because it's a pretty hot foot yet.
Do you think so?
Oh, you betcha.
I don't hardly think it is.
Well, thanks very much, Ben. It's certainly been a pleasure to
So there
have this interview with you.
so there you are.